Hi, welcome to the Cables, Lace, and Tails podcast. My name is Sue, and I am a maker from northwestern Wisconsin. I am coming to you today on a very nice sunny day. It was very cloudy this morning. It was very gray. There's a lot of people at my work where they were kind of feeling that seasonal depression and they just wanted sunshine. Well, it finally arrived. So let's sit down, have a cup of coffee or whatever beverage you choose, and let's just have a nice cozy chat about things I have made, things I am making, and how I'm getting a little bored with the things I am making. But perseverance is the key to success. So, first off, I finished a dishcloth while waiting for my daughter in the car. It's in the wash, and so I'm not going to show it. This is a simple dishcloth I made for my house because mine are wearing out. I also make dishcloths for Christmas gifts, sometimes for like the end of the year, you know, give a teacher a special gift. For my daughters, like in 5th grade, I gave all of her teachers a goodbye present. And I don't know if I'll give all of her teachers in junior high, but maybe one in particular, because that's her orchestra teacher and she just loves her. So this is a blanket I have made in 2019. I fell in love with this colorway right here. I thought it was so beautiful, and they only had so much at Walmart. I know I bought this at Walmart. It was Lime Brands, thick and quick. And when I could only buy so much at any given time, and they never got this colorway back in. So I had to like supplement it with different colors. I'll go like this. So I got some cream, I got some browns, and then I think at the end is like this kind of gold, red, and whatnot. I really wanted to get into wool yarn at the time. I was a little nervous about washing wool, and I thought, well, this is a good stepping off point. And I really wanted a really thick, comfortable blanket for those really cold nights. We can sometimes get down to minus, like with wind chills. So it might be like minus 20 with wind chills, minus 35, minus 40 Fahrenheit. So it can get quite cold. And in I think it was 19, or was it 18? I can't remember the year, but one year the polar vortex came down and we didn't have school for a whole week because it was so cold. It was like at least minus 35, if not minus 40, 45 with wind chill. So, and our school closes at minus 35 and below. Although they might be changing that a little bit because this year they have closed it and it didn't get as cold as they were saying, but you have kids waiting outside for the bus, and you know, some students don't dress appropriately for whatever reason. Anyhow, I made this in 2019. I used about 10 skeins of yarn. I did a filet crochet style. I kind of copied one of my grandma's blankets that she did. And then I made sure that the filet part, they were all stacked on top of the stitch. And then you can see with the double crochet, it's kind of built into the stitch. I love it. I had this in hiding for the last 2 winters because we got our present cats, which are, they've decided they don't want to be on camera anymore. We'll see. I think they're playing with my chapstick on the floor actually, but they aren't bothering my stuff as much as they were. In 2024, January as well as October, our other 2 cats who we had for about 14 years total, they passed away. And we were very, very sad. And we thought, oh, well, we'll give ourselves some time after our last cat passed in October, you know, grieve and all that. And we found that we missed having cats in our house so bad that within 2 weeks, we went to the Humane Society and got our present to cats. So they are, well, one is going to be 2 in May and the other one will be 2 in August. So they're getting up there in age. Okay, so now I can start bringing out my crochet stuff because they're just not messing with it as much. Now, this is one I finished last night. I had to do the border, and I did the border in a brown because I wanted it to represent wood, and this is the flame. That is the motif. The motif's name is the flame, and this is Bargello Needlepoint. It is so pretty. It looks so good on camera. Oh, it looks a lot different in person because you can see the texture, but let's see. I think it is just gorgeous. I used yarn from my stash. I have little bits and pieces of yarn that I just keep, and I'm like, well, let's use up some stash, you know? And I am going to make another design really soon because this really helped with a lot of, like, I don't feel like I'm getting anywhere in life. I am kind of irritated with the things around me, you know, that kind of stuff. Needlework does wonders for your soul. It really helps. So, not to give too much away, but I started with this orange. And you just kind of follow the pattern. And you start here. And you just follow the pattern and you go down and then it just repeats. I chose the yarns. It didn't look like the book per se. But I just thought these look good together. And I really wanted to resemble like a fire of some sort. Like, you know, this green is kind of grayish, kind of silvery. So it has that smokiness to it. And sometimes you can, you know, depending if the wood is treated or not, you can see that kind of green to it. But, you know, different things. In fact, excuse me. So she's playing with some chapstick on the floor and she came to say hello. This is Anya. Anya will be 2 years old next month. She is a sweet cat. She is a hairy baby. I have chapstick on my lips, so I'm not going to kiss her. She does not want to be on camera. She will start putting her claws into me soon, but we will just sit here for a little bit. Now, what can I say? She's so pretty. Look at how pretty she is. Okay, do you want to go now? Do you want to go see your sister? Be nice. There you go. Okay, so I got this book probably around Christmas time. Bargello Needlepoint. I love it. Now the next design I want to do is called spiral bands. Get it out of the glare. You actually make it this way, and then, you know, you can put it on its side. It feels like it has some movement to it. It is so pretty. I don't know what colors I'm going to use, but I'll find some that's in my stash. I'm using acrylic yarn, and I have a lot of half skeins or quarter skeins or little balls of acrylic yarn. And I thought maybe I should, you know, put it on my wall because, you know, it's really neat. And then I was also thinking maybe it could be like, you know, you put it on a table. You don't want to use it as a placemat for, like, say, eating, but like maybe you could put, look it on your dresser and you could put your little things on it. Here's the back, so you can see the back. I just kind of worked the yarn in with itself. I haven't trimmed anything yet, or maybe I will, maybe I won't. If I frame it or put it on the wall, you don't really need to see. So that is one major finished object. I just think it is so fun. I actually posted it on Instagram, on my Cables, Lace, and Tails on Instagram, and they give you options for music, and I was looking through the music, which I've only started adding to my posts, and I found Alicia Keys' This Girl Is on Fire, and I attached it. It's actually really quite fun. So The next thing I'm going to discuss are my works in progress. I have plodded along. Some things I'm getting really kind of tired of, and I just want to get them done, and it just seems like it's not happening, but it will, and I have started some others, so we'll just go. First, I'm going to talk about my Leisure Arts cardigan that I got in this Necessary Knits book. That, like I've stated before, you probably can get this on eBay or maybe thrift books, or I know I got mine from thrift books. And sometimes, you know, like libraries get rid of their stash, and then that's how I got this, because it was a library book. I have to do one more repeat before I do the back shoulder shaping. And it feels like it's like longer on one side than the other. And I don't know why. Maybe it's my stitch gauge. I'm not going to worry about it. You know, this is going to be fine. That's what I'm telling myself. This is going to be fine. Don't overthink it. Don't get all worried about it, because then it'll languish. So I really want to get this back panel done. I really like how it's a natural stripe in the yarn itself. It will fade a little bit with washing. I've learned that because I've made a tank top out of this. And I only got maybe 1.5 inches done last week, maybe one full repeat. So I'll finish this, then I'll do the fronts, and then I'll do the sleeves. It's done in pieces and then sewn up. I am using Knit Picks 4 square laminated birch circular needles. I really like them. They're square needles, so it does change your gauge a little bit, but I did the gauge swatch and I made gauge with it, so I really like the pointy tip. And this is a size US 8 or 5 millimeter. And you don't do any ribbing. You go back at the end and you do some crochet. So I'm looking for, I've never done that to a knitted sweater. I was a little intimidated, like, oh no, do you think I'll be able to? And I said, yes, you're going to be able to. Don't worry about it. Sometimes we like to make ourselves worry over nothing. Like, stuff is happening in the world, stuff is happening in our private life, stuff is happening around us all the time. And then you just get into that mindset of, will it work? Will it not work? Will it work? Will it not work? So I'm plodding along. I want to get it done because I want to wear it this summer. So, and that would be really fun. Now, I'm going to go on to the Terpsichore, which is from Sari Norlund's book, Softly. First off, I love her patterns. In her pattern, she stated that you would just do 10 repeats, but if you chose to do more repeats, just keep following the chart and remember that you have to do all those decreases as well as having enough yarn. I did not do a gauge swatch because it is a scarf, and I thought, it's a scarf. I don't want to. And then, let's see, I'll just show a picture of her wearing it. It is a shawl-like scarf where it's pointy in the middle and then it looks like a shawl. I'll show you another picture. I don't want to lose all my notes. That's what it'll look like in the end. I literally just found that my next project I'm going to do out of this book. See if I can find it real quick. I'm going to do in the same colorway, which is the color Oyster. I am going to do these fingerless gloves that are so big and long. Let me see. It calls for, I believe, a DK. And you need to get 20 stitches per 4 inches. So I'm just going to double check, like it calls for a DK. I'm going to double check the yarn I am using to make sure it'll fit gauge wise. and then I'll adjust my needles if I have to. I think I'd have to just go up a needle size, to be perfectly honest, to get gauge. This yarn is classified as sport, but I think I get 20 inches or 20 stitches per 4 inches using US size 5. And this says 20 stitches per 4 inches using size 4 or 3.5 millimeter. So I'm going to do that because I have been working. I learned last night going through my phone pictures. I was scrolling, deleting stuff that I didn't need and, you know, creating some space. And I found the beginning, which I took of like, you know, it's about that much. April 14th, 2024. It has been almost a full year. No wonder I am getting tired of doing the same things over and over. Yes, I had put this off to the side when I was making all the dishcloths for my coworkers and my daughter's teachers, but it is growing. It's quite long. I decided to do 14 repeats. So this would be the beginning of the 15th. So that's how it works. And then now I'm decreasing. I worked on this morning and I measured, it's about 6 inches that I worked on this past week. So I'm really trying to get it done. If I fold it in half, let's see. You have 4 different charts for this. And right now I'm just decreasing to the point of, I don't know, to the point of where I get to the next chart. So I don't really have that much left, probably another 6 to 8 inches. So I really want to get this done. This has been a lovely project, but I would like to use these needles and different yarns for different things for the future. So I mentioned that this is Knit Picks Upcycle Alpaca in the color Oyster and Sport Weight. It is a lovely yarn. It is a mixture of, with equal amounts, about approximately acrylic, wool, and alpaca. And it is gorgeous. I do have a lot of this color, so I think I'm going to make those gloves next and then see how much I have left and then maybe make a hat. So I have like a whole little set, or maybe I'll make something else out of the remaining skeins. So what else? I decided I wanted it this color because it would match a lot of my clothes. It, you know, it looks good on me. It's soft and it's a neutral for me. The cables, they feel so nice and soft. And it's a lovely yarn, lovely pattern. I was having difficulty reading the decreasing parts, but now I have kind of, since I've done it so much, I've just kind of looked at my stitches, looked at the pattern, and just kind of finagled what looks best. And so it's fine. It's working out really, really nice. This is, did I mention? I'm using Knit Picks 4 square laminated birch needles, US size 4 or 3.5 millimeter. I really like these. They're so smooth. I know I've looked on Knit Picks and read some of their reviews, and a lot of people did not care for their needles, but so far so good with me. I have nothing to complain about. I did kind of bend this cord, storing it incorrectly. That was on me. I am not affiliated with Knit Picks at this time. If I ever do become affiliated with them, I will be forthright and state that I am. But it's not bad, and I'm just, you know, being careful with this cord. And if it breaks, it breaks, and I would have to buy another one or whatever, you know. So that is one of the main things I've been working on this past week, because I just want to get it done. It is being too long. It's been almost a year. And if I don't finish it by April 14th of this year, it'll be over a year on my needles. So my next thing I am discussing is my, I'm using this book, the Knitter's Handy Book of Sweater Patterns, to make my drop shoulder V-neck cardigan. I decided to do it in a simple stockinette stitch. I did about 1.5 inches of 1x1 ribbing. I am using Berroco Dulce, which is a discontinued yarn. I looked it up, and you can still get it at certain places, but it gives you 175 yards per 50-gram ball, and it is they use a braided cord of cotton nylon and oh geez, they're fighting. Okay, hey, it's okay, it's okay. Psst, psst. You're okay. Everyone is okay. They're cats. They're 2 females. We should have got 3. Put a boy in the mix, and it would have been a little bit better. Anyway, lesson learned for next time. All right, so where was I? Okay, the yarn. The yarn is squishy. The yarn is beautiful. It uses cotton, nylon, let me double check, cotton, nylon, and wool strand, and that is braided, and then this is brushed alpaca. Can you see? It is so pretty. It is so soft. I just love it. It reminds me of my cat Tallulah's belly. It's so soft. And now I'm gonna have a cardigan, and so I'll be like wrapped in a kitten's belly. It is a natural striping yarn that I did not know when I got it. And when I wet block it, it gets a little bit more muted, but you can still see, you can see it more on my phone, cats, on my phone screen than you can in person. I mean, a little bit, but it's more muted. So I did a 1x1 rib. I kept track. I did it for about 1.5 inches, and then it's a drop shoulder. So I am working at this point, let's see, 2 weeks ago, I measured it and it was 5.5 inches. Then I measured it. I did not measure it last week, but I only worked on it for like maybe 1 inch or 2. And then this week I have been going back and forth. At this present time, I wrote it down, I am at 11 inches. I need to get to either 14.5 to 15 inches. And then I'm gonna, when I get to that point, I'm gonna do a lifeline, because I don't want to put any stitch markers on this, because it is so soft and kind of airy, and I don't want my stitches to be all wonky in one area. So I'll put a lifeline so I can measure, and then that will be like where the sleeve openings will be, and then you know, go up from there. I decided to do the size 44 for the back, and I'm doing a size 42 for the front, and a size 40 for the sleeves. I just wanted to have it, you know, to cover my back, but then not be too big in front, because if I did a 44, it would be too big. But if I go down to a 42, I think it should be fine. And if I find after I finish this, and I, you know, say it's off the needles, and I have it like around, and I think, oh, it's a little too big, well, then I can just go down to the size 40 and just, you know, do the same length as I'm making it. That's why I like this book. It is basically, I'll just open it and show you. It is basically a spreadsheet book, and you just have your yarn gauge over here. This is not the pattern, I don't think. No, set and sleeve. This is the yarn gauge, and you follow that one, and then, oops, must have, and then you look up here for the size you want, and you just measure. You just match. So this has actually been a lot of fun. A lot of fun. I've just started my second skein of yarn. You can see the little yarn things here. I interlock the yarns. I find it's better for me to do that with a certain yarn weight and down, which is usually worsted. It does create a little bit of bulk because you have double the yarn in that area. But before, I would always think I would, do it evenly, and it would be either too loose or too tight, or I would feel like I would have to put a little knot there, and then the knot would show. They are not happy with each other. So, anyhow, I am using, which is a free gift from Knit Picks, because I bought, they had a sale, and then they said if you bought so much, say $75 worth of products, you could get this free needle set. And sometimes they sell out right away, but I lucked out and got them, and it was a try me set, and this is US 7, I believe. I want to say radiance, but I think it's the stainless steel version. I really like them. I would buy a whole set of these. I really like these needles. They are a little heavy. I like that for me, especially with this loosey-goosey soft yarn. It just gives me like a sense of control, if that makes sense. I really like them, and they feel good, and they sound good. So this is coming along. I don't want to lose that yarn band. I lost the other one. I don't know where I put it. So I want to keep this one. I have 10 skeins of this yarn. I bought it from Little Knits in Seattle, and they had like this big flash sale of it. This and the Berroco Chai, which is a silk and linen. And so normally, I don't know how much this was normally, but I got like 80% off both yarns. And I thought to myself, if I don't buy this now, I'm going to regret it, because this is going to be something I'm going to love and something I'm going to use. And I had never even used Berroco before. So it was just like one of those instinctual things that you go, ooh, 80% off. It's made out of this stuff. It looks gorgeous. Yes, please. Yes, please. Now, I have just started, and it is so hard to see in any light except for bright sunlight or bright lamps. My vegetable patch cardigan. Let me show you a quick picture. I'm just going to show you the back of the book. This is from Knit Picks, Homestead Cables, and the pattern is by Annie Howard. It is done in pieces. I finally got close enough gauge. Did I write it down? I know I did. I remember saying something last week about it. And let me just see. Okay. So you needed to have 25 stitches per 4 inches blocked. I started with size 8, went down to a size, let's see, size 8. I don't remember if it was wood or metal, but that was too loose. And then I went to a size 6 wood, and that was still too loose. And so then I went to a size 6, but using Knitter's Pride Zing. These do have a blunted tip. I don't mind it. I actually like the different colors here because you can really see your stitches with this metal. It's a circular. I love the yarn. It is so beautiful. It is. I am using Knit Picks Wool of the Andes in the color Shire Heather. It is very dark blue, green, browns, a little bit of gold. Oh, it's so pretty. It is squishy. I have used Knit Picks Wool of the Andes before. Nicole from the Common Thread Fiber, I think she just goes by the thread on YouTube. She stated that Wool of the Andes is like a workhorse yarn, and I agree with her. She also stated that like in stockinette, it really pills a lot. I have found that to be true with my Frankie sweater. It doesn't stop me from wearing it, and I will fix it once it gets too warm, because I wore it to work today. It was too hot to wear right now, but I wore it to work today, and I got so hot. Because we're in that in-between time where it was like 27. It felt like 27 this morning, even though it was like low 30s Fahrenheit. And but by the afternoon, it was starting to get warmer, and I was getting a little bit, too much. So she said when done in cables, it doesn't pill as much. So we'll see. I did the recommended 2x2 ribbing. This is where I was last week, right there. I had just started it. So I finished the ribbing, and then can you see the cables? The cabling is starting. Now, I had to rearrange my lights in my living room because I literally couldn't see this. And I do have one of these neck lights, but I triggered my old whiplash injury. And I was getting a headache from this being on my neck because it's just so heavy. So I changed a lamp in my house and brought it closer. It's working, but it's a beautiful yarn. I'm using US size 7. Did I mention that? US size 7 or 4.5 millimeter. And that is no, wait, is it a 7? No, I am sorry. I am wrong. I'm using a US size 6, 4 millimeter. And the thing about this pattern is that you just use one needle size for the entire thing, which I kind of like. So I am doing, I believe, the 4 size, the 48-inch bust, because I do want it to be large enough to go over my clothes, but I don't want it to be so large that it's falling off my body like the last one. And granted, the last one I did out of this book, which was the Emery's cardigan. I'll just show you the back. This one. Mine does not look like that. Mine is not that fitted. It is quite wide. I'm thinking I might like wet block it or get it wet, stick it in the dryer for just a little bit and see if it shrinks up a little, because it is really, really wide. But I also made it the wrong size, and I want it to be over sweaters, so I'm kind of like in between, like if I shrink it, will it not work for what I want it to work for? So this time I thought, with looking at the gauge that they have, I think they say they want you to have about 10 inches, 5 to 10 inches of positive ease. So I'll have about 6 inches, and that is fine, I believe. I hope. I want it to be true. Is this going? Yeah, I am doing the 4 size. So is this coming along? It is hard to see, so I don't always pick it up, especially if I'm like kind of in a hurry to do something, but I don't know what, and you have to pay attention because it is cables. It is an easy cabling pattern. It's not hard, but you just have to pay attention because it's cables. It's not like stockinette where you can just bing, bang, boom. Now, I have started one gauge swatch. It is for this sweater. I got this sweater off of Etsy maybe 3 years ago. And I really wanted to do this, but then when I read some of the reviews after, it was a digital download and I printed it out. when I read some of the reviews, someone was really mad that they did the size to fit the bust, but then it ended up being way too big. And then whoever, you know, responded, I don't remember who the seller was, said that you would actually look at the actual size, or, you know, finished garment. So if you look here, this is to fit your bust, and then this is the actual size. So I am actually doing a 38 to 40 inch bust, but the actual size will be a 48-inch bust sweater, which, as I'm learning, is an extra large, and that's what I prefer. I am using US 5 and US 7 for the needles. My gauge swatch was done in US 7. I kind of got gauge. Where's my notes? It was hard. I really had a hard time with my gauge swatching. And I was like, you know, how should I do this? You know, how to measure it? Because once you start measuring it, you know, you got the cables. The stockinette was easy. So according to the pattern, I need 19 stitches per 4 inches using US size 7. And I got 18 inches per 4 inches. Now, was I being too loosey-goosey down here? Possibly. You know, I was probably not really paying attention. I was just like, oh, it's a stockinette. Do. Then up here, this is cable B, and this is cable A. So this is 3 repeats, and this is 1 repeat. So this is a 4 repeat pattern, and this is a 12 roll repeat pattern. So I measured this in many different spots, and it was really hard. It was really hard because I don't count my pearls very well. It was hard for me. I'm not saying it was hard for everybody, but it was hard for me. So I kind of figured that this was an 18 stitch repeat, and this was a 12 stitch repeat. So I measured this, and I measured this, and I found out that I got 26 stitches per 4 inches, and the pattern requires 24 stitches per 4 inches. So I'm off gauge 2 different ways. I'm too few and too many. And did I just get really nervous up here, and I saw that I was kind of gaping in this area, and did I overcompensate? So my thought is, just make the second size. It'll be for a 48-inch bust. And if I lose stitches, then it's just going to fit me better. Or if it's so bad, I'll give it to my daughter and she can have it. And she would love a sweater like this because she loves wearing stuff that she can get ketchup on or whatever, and then have it stained. You know, like, that's how I feel about, that's my feelings. That's not her. I feel like when I wear white, I then drop coffee or, you know, cherry jam or something that cannot, chocolate, something that you cannot wash out very easily. But it is a beautiful pattern. If you look in the picture here, there is a lot of texture in between the cables. Let's just hold it up. That is done. I read it, and I don't really remember, but basically you are making like little bobbly stitches through, or kind of like a moss stitch, but not really, because they don't call it that. This calls for sport weight or Aran, and I'm using worsted weight. I looked at the needle size, I looked at the stitches, I thought, well, let's just try. And I am using Lion Brand Wool of the Ant. I am getting all my things. Wool Ease, Wool of the Andes. You see how I'm getting it all confused? Lion Brand, Wool Ease, worsted weight, in the color, I believe, Fisherman. I bought a bunch of this yarn during one of the shutdowns. Some company on Amazon, I don't know if it was Lion Brand itself or someone else, had a massive sale. And I got like, I want to say 10 to 15 skeins for like 30 bucks. It was 10 skeins for 30 bucks. But I bought quite a bit at the time because I thought I want to make a sweater and I'm going to need, you know, I want to make 2 sweaters out of this. So I'm going to need whatever. I have 12 skeins left over from my other cabled cardigan. So I thought, let's use up stash and get it out of stash and get it onto a body. So that's kind of been my thought lately, is instead of buying more yarn, will I stop buying yarn? No. But the things I have, I do want to use up. And I was getting kind of down and out about, well, all this stuff is taking so long and it's not going as fast as I want. And then I said, well, you have been busy. You have been doing other things. You know, don't give yourself such a hard time. Because sometimes we try to, you know, I'm doing a weekly podcast. I want to show my progress. I want to do things. I do have someone in my life presently who's making it more difficult for me to just dedicate time to getting things done. So, you know, you just got to work through it, I guess. My cats have calmed down. They're all in their spots. My dog is sleeping. And I'm going to have a little bit more coffee before I have to go get my child at school. She does an after-school activity on Thursdays, and I pick her up later. So this gives me a really nice time to record. I don't feel like I'm being rushed, because I did do this podcast yesterday, and I did not like it. I felt like I was rushing through everything, and I don't want to do that. I want to be here enjoying my knits, enjoying explaining, talking about the weather, because in Wisconsin, especially northwestern Wisconsin, I have lived in this area, I would say, the majority of my life. And if you cannot have a conversation with anyone, then you don't know how to talk about the weather. You're standing in line at the store, or you're at the gas station, or you're pumping gas, and you know the wind goes and you're like, whoo, and someone goes, yeah, it's a bit blustery. You know, you can always talk about the weather. It is a beautiful day. It's getting a little bit more cloudy. I prefer the gray days. It helps with my eyes. I don't have to see that bright sun. It really it's a redhead thing. We have no pigment in our eyes, so it's hard to see in the sun. Anyway, that's about it. I have really enjoyed making a little bit more needlework. I do have projects in my embroidery bins. I do have needlepoint projects, and I have other things I started and then I kind of put off to the side because I would work on them in the summer. And then, you know, things happen and you say, oh, I'll take care of that later. Someday I will show you those. But this is so pretty. The flame. It does look like a flame. It is so pretty. I would like to thank Charlie Neebe, who also has another podcast called The Stitchery, as well as Charlie Neebe. She brought up Bargello, and this motif or similar motifs out of this book were really popular when I was a child. And when she showed hers, I was like, yes, I've always wanted to do something like that. And now I am. Simple plastic canvas. Can you see the back? Simple plastic canvas. I did use a size 16 I don't know if you would call it an embroidery needle or needlepoint needle. And funny fact, before Joann's was mentioning that they were closing, I went there in January and they were have buy 3 get 2 free for sale, on sale. And I bought the 5 because I was doing I was going to show this at the learn-in for our 4-H group, and unfortunately due to weather we weren't able to go, but I have I have like 25 needles now. So I won't lose them. But then, you know, maybe someday in the future I can teach the kids. I can have like different designs, and you can make boxes. You can, you know, depending on the, I wouldn't use this for a lamp, but you could use cotton canvas and, you know, make a lampshade out of it. This is probably going to be wall art. Keep me inspired. So, well, I think that's about it for today. I have stated this in the past, and maybe I should have stated it right away in the future. Thank you to my new subscriber. I really appreciate it. If you like this content, please hit the like button and also subscribe. That would be wonderful. And I really appreciate it. This is a lot of fun for me to do. It does keep me motivated. I keep thinking of like, what do I want to make? And there are a lot of things I want to make. So presently I have a lot of cardigans in the works, and my color works are languishing. So my thought is to finish something like my scarf, my Sari scarf, and then do something else that is kind of small. And then for next winter, let me see. Next winter, I really want to start making color work mittens. I think they're just cool. So cool. That is one of my plans. And you know, I actually have a lot of stuff that I need to finish, and I just got to get out of this slump of feeling bad for crafting. You shouldn't feel bad for crafting. It is good for your soul. It is good for your mind. And those who want you to stop usually want you, you know, to have control over you. At least that's what I found. So, thank you for coming. Thank you for stopping by. Have a cup of coffee or whatever beverage you choose and enjoy a nice little podcast. Have it on in the background. That's what I like to do. And then work on stuff, because we all can support each other in this community. Thank you for coming. Take care and have fun. Bye for now.